What's up, guys? Flippin' Steve here, coming at you today in third person. Yes, third person. I don't do that too much, but I just want to give you guys some tips and some tricks that I use when I purchase cards raw that I plan on grading to have flip later for profits. So sit back and chill, and I'll be right on back to talk about it. What's up, guys? Welcome back, and tonight I want to discuss the riskiest yet the most rewarding way to flip cards, at least in my opinion. Buying raw and getting graded. I'm going to give you guys some tips on the things that I do to try to cut back on some of the risk when buying raw cards. But first, guys, we have well gone over the 100 subscriber mark that we were shooting for, up over 150 subscribers. Just amazing, awesome. Yes, we still do have the Zion hoops to give away, which I will be giving away Friday night, which is tonight, the 29th. I'm going to try to live stream that maybe 9 Eastern time. However, if real life gets in the way, then the winner will definitely be announced in my next video, which will probably be out on Saturday. If you're not sure how to win, there will be a link in the description to the video to giving you details. So yeah, make sure you give that thumbs up, make sure you hit the subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into this. So personally, my favorite way to flip cards is to buy raw and sell graded. That's where your biggest turnover in money is normally made. However, it is risky to buy raw cards, especially when most of your purchase is done online. So that once that's going to lead into where I'm going to give you my opinion on the best places and how to buy your raw cards. So first of all, of course, it's always best to try to buy your raw cards in person, whether that be at your LCS. Not everybody has a local card store. I know I have one nowhere near me. But card shows tend to be the best place. You can often find lots of cheap cards, raw form. You can look over them, and make sure you definitely take your magnifier with you. You don't be afraid to ever ask a vendor to look over a card. Most of the time they're going to be very easygoing. They're going to allow you to do it. One thing that I like to do is to say, hey, do you mind if I look over this card that I'm interested in? Take it out of the case. If I damage it, I'll pay for it. That's usually my selling point on them allowing me to do it. A lot of times they'll actually remove the card from the top loader or whatever for you. And if not, I had one instance, only once have I ever had a vendor say, no, you can't look at the card. If you want it, it costs $25. And I just walked away. In my opinion, that's a vendor that doesn't want to make a sale and probably has something to hide, probably selling a junk card. They don't want you looking at it. When you're at the card shows, and this is a huge tip, and this is where I find a lot of my value, go to the tables that have high priced items and showcases with very expensive items. You're not going to find your base prisms, your base optics, and a lot of your lower end cards that you're going to want to buy and have graded in their showcases. However, for the most part, these vendors or dealers are guys who do breaks, and all they really ever do is search for the high end stuff. And more often than not, they will take their lower end cards, even if they're rookie cards, and they'll put them away in boxes just because they don't want to deal with them. Go up to those tables and say, hey, do you have any, boxes of cards that I can go through? And just tell them what you're looking for. Say, hey, I'm looking for, some 2019, 2020 Prism, or, whatever you're looking for. And most of the time, I would say 80 to 90% of the time, they're going to pull out boxes of cards that they're tired of hauling around, and they're going to be more than happy to have you go through them. And you're going to be able to get them at a decent price. For example, the last card show I attended, from one table, I was able to pick up all of these Colin Sexton prisms These Jaren Jackson Jr. prisms, Tyler Heroes, which you can still see the price on them is written is a 3, and Kobe White prisms. I was able to buy all these from one table for $3 a card. You'll never find a deal like that online, especially when you got shipping fees and everything else. But $3 a card. Now, I did not take the time to examine all of these cards at the table because for $3, I'm just going to go ahead and buy them. And when I come home, I'm going to go over them, and more than likely, I'm going to get my value back out of them. And also, when you're buying in bulk from one vendor, you can easily negotiate. You know, say for instance, I had 20 cards there at $3. You know, that's going to be $60, but you can say, hey, I'll give you 45, I'll give you 50. And a lot of times you're going to get a good deal that way. And even if you come home and you don't feel like they're cards that are necessarily 10s, they're still raw cards for the most part that are going to have some value for you, considering you got them so cheap with no shipping. So that's my biggest tip, is to target the vendors or the dealers with the high priced items, because they're the ones that are going to have the low end stuff at a cheap price, because they're going to be wanting to get rid of it. They're not going to want to be lugging it around all the different card shows that they go to, and they don't put it out in their showcases to sell. They're really in the market to collect and buy the high end stuff, and they're looking for someone like you and like me to come along and buy up this stuff out from under them. Also, if you're forced to use eBay, which most people are in most cases, or any online, you're going to want to buy in lots. I find that buying in lots, you know, of 10 or more cards, you're going to get more value. You're going to save on shipping. Even if you get a couple bad cards in the batch, you tend to get at least 50, 60, 70% of the cards look good, at least good enough to grade. For example, I bought 10 of these. I bought 10 of these Trae Young hoops in a lot, and I got them for $45. So it was $4.50 a card. I've already sent 2 in, and I have 3 more ready to go. I've gotten my scans back from SGC, and the 2 that I sent in actually were graded 10s. So I'm already going to easily make my money back for that lot. Plus, I also have 3 more to go in, and I have 5 more for myself to look at to see if I want to have them graded or not. Make sure you research your seller. You're going to want to look at your seller's feedback, of course. That's always important on any transaction. See if they offer returns. If they offer returns, then that means they're pretty confident in what they're selling to you. Look at their recent sales or just their sales history. See if they're selling graded cards, because if they're selling a lot of graded cards and then you see them listing raw cards, then a lot of times that means that they're graders. They're people who like to get their stuff graded, and these are, you know, they're selling these raw cards that they did not deem worthy to be sent in. And also look in the description. See if they actually give you a description: near mint, mint, gem mint. You know, nobody will ever claim anything to be gem mint, because then they'll be held accountable if it's not. But, you know, they usually give you some sort of description. If they say look at the scan, then basically they're just protecting themselves from selling you, you know, what could potentially be a bad card. I usually like to have some sort of description on the card's condition before I buy it, not just look at the scans, because scans are very unclear. They could be showing you a scan of a card that's not the actual card for sale. All different things like that. So that's some of the things you can do to limit your risk when you're buying, you know, and save yourself the hassle of buying a bad card and getting yourself some quality cards that you can actually submit for grading. Also, what to buy. What are some determining factors on what kind of raw cards you should be buying? Of course, if they're personal collection or PC cards, then it doesn't matter. You're going to buy them, you know, for yourself, for your personal likingness, you know, and just what you want. If you're looking for something that you can sell, then I would say always check the pop reports. And what I mean by checking the pop reports is go on psacard.com or BGS and look at the the gem ratio. You want to look at the submissions, how many gem mint 10s there are, do the math and figure out the gem percentage and see how easy or how difficult it is to grade a card as a 10. For example, a very popular card in the market right now is the Luca Prism. However, the PSA 10 rate on this card is pretty easy. It's right around 69%. At one time it was at 72%, so it has come down a little bit. I don't know if PSA is starting to protect this card a little bit. I doubt it, but anyway, these cards are a fairly easy grade. So buying these raw and having them graded, may not be a bad idea. Although I would never recommend spending tons of money on a raw card. That's just me personally. When I buy raw, I tend to buy lots and I tend to buy lower end cards. But this does have a good gem rate at 69%, so it's not too super risky to buy these. But you also got to think on the other side that if you're buying this raw, why hasn't the person selling it to you send it in to be graded, themselves? So that's another thing that you need to think of. For instance, if you check the pop report on a 98 Bowman Chrome Peyton Manning, you're going to see that it has a 22% gem rate. So that's a very tough card to grade. Buying these raw and sending them in and hoping to get a 10, you're looking at 2 out of every 10 sent in getting a PSA 10. So again, that's another thing to think about, is your odds of getting a 10 when you're sending in a card. Also, check your values on your PSA 10s, on your PSA 9s. If the value of a PSA 10 is only like, a 2 or 3 time multiplier of a raw card, say for instance you pay $10 to $15 for a raw card and the PSA 10 on that card is only selling for $50, they may not, by the time you pay grading fees and such, that's really not necessarily worth the grade, if you know what I'm saying. If you buy a card for $15, you pay $10 to get it graded, that's $25, and in a PSA 10 it only sells for $50 or $60. It's really not worth the gamble of getting that card graded, even if it does get a 10. And also check the values of the 9s. In some cases, a PSA 9 may sell for more than a raw card. It may sell for significantly more than a raw card, and that's usually a very good buy, in my opinion. For example, I just picked up this Aaron Rodgers 2005 Topps rookie card for $30. I bought it raw for $30, and I already have 2 PSA 10s. So the PSA 10s are selling for around $250, and the raws are selling for $30. You can definitely, send in a raw. If you get a 10, you're gonna, it's gonna be well worth your value. And if you get a 9, you're still gonna be able to sell the card for a lot more than what you bought it for, around $125. So you're looking at a $30 card with a $10 grading fee. You're still gonna make profit even if you get a 9. So that's a safe way to invest in raw cards. Look at what the 9s are selling for. And if 9s are selling for, well over what raws are selling for, then usually it's a good investment. Also, going back to pop reports, look for cards that not many people grade, because if you can get those on the market and not many of them out there, it's going to help you get sales. It's going to be less competition, and it's going to make the card more valuable as well. I've been picking up these Pascal Siakam optics, not only because I think that he's a really good player on a good team, and the NBA is about to start back up and the Raptors are going to make a playoff run, but because there's only 32 PSA 10s in the pop report of this card. And it's not that it's a difficult grade. Glare is terrible. It's not that it's a difficult grade. It's just that not many of them have been submitted. And they sell for about $120 in a PSA 10. It's an optic, so it's not really a difficult grade. And there's 32 of them in the market. If you get some of these in your hand in a PSA 10, with 32 of them in the pop report, and you can get yourself 4 or 5 of them, you could pretty much, not control the market, but you can make yourself some good money off of these, especially if the Raptors make a good push. I got a couple other cards over here, just some cards I bought in lots, some Optic Josh Allens I bought in lots off eBay. Some of these will be I'll be evaluating some of these myself. If you're not familiar or know how to evaluate your own cards, I will leave a link in the description to a video that I did on that can help you out on evaluating your own cards. And here are some cards that I already have ready that I also bought in lots on eBay, really cheap. I got these for less than, like $4 a card. And, like the Cam Reddishes, I bought like a lot of, 6, and 3 of them looked really good. So to me, if you get 110 back, you're going to pay for your lot and probably make profit on just one card. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to cover. Hopefully some of this information helps you guys out, answer some of the questions that I've been getting about buying raw and grading to flip for more money. It is a little bit risky, but it also is very rewarding, when you come out on the other side with some good grades. So yeah, make sure you make sure you subscribe. Check the links below, so you can familiarize yourself with how to evaluate your own cards, and also so you can get yourself entered into the Zion giveaway, which will be going down tonight. So get in there last second, last minute, 2-minute warning, get in on the Zion. And yeah, I hope this was helpful to you guys. So until next time, good luck in your investing, and I will see you later.